hummingbird hovering in front of a feeder is doing something no other animal with a backbone can do. It's consuming oxygen at roughly 700 milliliters per kilogram of body weight every minute. That's the highest peak metabolic rate ever measured in a vertebrate. Nothing else is close. Today I want to show you what that looks like on the inside, why you can't copy it, and what you actually can change. Because the honest answer to that last question is smaller than you'd hope and more useful than you'd expect. Let's start with the anatomy. If you take a slice of hummingbird flight muscle and look at it under an electron microscope, roughly 35% of the fiber volume is mitochondria. Some measurements of the main flight muscle put it higher still. Let me give you the comparison so that number means something. Untrained human skeletal muscle sits somewhere around 2 to 6% mitochondria by volume. A well-trained endurance athlete gets to about 11%. And your heart muscle, which contracts continuously your entire life and never gets a day off, runs at 25 to 30%. So a hummingbird's wing muscle is more densely packed with energy machinery than your heart is. And it isn't just the quantity. It's the arrangement. In hummingbirds, the mitochondria cluster underneath the outer membrane of the muscle fiber, pressed up against the capillaries running between the fibers. They do this to a greater extent than mammalian muscle does. Which makes sense. Oxygen arrives through the capillary wall, and the shorter the distance it has to travel, the faster it can be used. Then there's the internal structure. The inner membrane of a mitochondrion is folded into sheets called cristae, and those folds are where the electron transport chain sits. More folding means more working surface in the same space. In hummingbird flight muscle, that folding measures around 58 square meters of membrane per cubic centimeter of mitochondria. Researchers describe it as being extremely close to the theoretical maximum. Fold any more tightly and there wouldn't be physical room for the enzymes to operate. So this animal is running its energy production at close to the limit of what's structurally possible in a vertebrate body. Now, the obvious question. If that's possible, why aren't we built like that? And this is where the story gets genuinely interesting, because there's a hard trade-off, and it's the most important thing in this video. Muscle fibers don't only need mitochondria. They need myofibrils. Those are the contractile units, the machinery that actually generates force when a muscle shortens. And myofibrils occupy about 75 to 85% of the volume of a muscle fiber. There's only so much room inside a cell. Every percent you give to mitochondria is a percent you take from force production. Researchers looking at extreme flyers, both hummingbirds and insects, noted that mitochondrial volume density doesn't exceed about 35 to 40% even in these specialists. Their interpretation was that the ceiling exists precisely because myofibrils still have to be preserved for force generation. And the hummingbird pays the price for its position on that spectrum. Those flight muscles are exceptional at sustained hovering. They are not capable of heavy lifting or great strength. That's the trade. So when someone tells you the goal is to maximize your mitochondria, they're describing a trade-off they haven't thought through. You do not want the hummingbird's configuration. You'd lose the ability to carry anything. Alright. So what can training actually change? Here's a study I found genuinely clarifying. 8 healthy untrained young men completed 20 weeks of moderate intensity running. That's a serious block of training, and the researchers measured a lot of things. The performance results were solid. Their 1500-meter speed improved by 14%. Their running speed at 85% of maximum heart rate improved by nearly 10%. The molecular results were substantial too. PGC1-alpha, which is the master regulator for building new mitochondria, up 23%. TFA-M, which handles mitochondrial gene transcription, up 29%. Markers of fission and fusion, the shape-changing machinery, up 31 and 44%. And the enzymes. Citrate synthase activity up 65%. Cytochrome C oxidase activity up 42%. That second one is the final enzyme of the electron transport chain, complex 4. Now the surprise. Total mitochondrial volume density in the muscle did not change. 20 weeks of running. Substantially better performance. Enzyme activity up by half or more. And the actual amount of mitochondrial material in the muscle stayed put. The author's conclusion was that in beginner runners, it isn't volume density that matters. It's the oxidative phosphorylation activity, the cytochrome C oxidase activity specifically, that should be treated as the real biomarker of adaptation. There's a similar finding in strength athletes. When researchers compared them to untrained people, mitochondrial volume density was comparable between the groups. What differed was cristae density. The strength athletes had more folding inside their existing mitochondria. If you watched Tuesday's video on mitochondrial DNA, you'll recognize the shape of this. Their 6 weeks of training raised respiratory chain enzyme activity substantially with no change in the number of mitochondrial genomes. 3 different studies, 3 different measures, and the same pattern keeps appearing. The count stays roughly stable. The capability goes up. I'll be honest that not every study agrees. Some work does find mitochondrial content rising with training, and endurance athletes clearly have higher mitochondrial content than untrained people when measured other ways. There's real disagreement here about what changes and how fast. But the direction of the useful conclusion doesn't depend on resolving that. You are not going to turn your legs into hummingbird wings. There's a structural ceiling, and you wouldn't want to reach it anyway because you'd give up your strength to get there. What training reliably does is improve the quality of what's already in there. More folding. More enzyme activity. More output per unit of machinery. That's a less exciting promise than most of the internet makes. It's also true, and it's free. So the lever today is the one that keeps surviving contact with the evidence. Endurance work. Running, cycling, brisk walking, stairs. 20 weeks of moderate running produced all of the above in men who started untrained. Now, where my own recommendation sits. That enzyme that went up 42%, cytochrome C oxidase, is complex 4 of the electron transport chain. CoQ10 is one of the carriers earlier in that same chain, moving electrons along toward it. Levels tend to decline as we age. I'm not claiming a supplement raises cytochrome C oxidase activity or changes mitochondrial density. Those were exercise results, and I'd be borrowing credibility that doesn't belong to the supplement if I blurred that. If you want to support the machinery, the link in the description below is an affiliate link to Mitochondrial, which is PQQ and CoQ10, with a 90-day money-back guarantee. If you like the version where the impressive animal fact comes with the reason you can't copy it, subscribe. This video is educational only and it's not medical advice. Talk to your doctor before starting new or more intense exercise.